Have you always aspired to be a professional wrestler? Do you think you have what it takes to step through these ropes and take your place among the immortals? Well, now you have an opportunity. Join us at the DCCW training facility at Harvest Ministries in McClenny, Florida. There you will be put to the test and challenged like you have never been challenged before. If you think you have what it takes, prove it to the world, but most importantly, prove it to yourself.
Go.
Sponsored by Andrea Mason, Press Play, Plan Life According to You LLC. Take care of your mental health. Find inner peace by rediscovering and loving you for who you truly are. Take advantage of this exclusive offer and choose to press play today. Thank you.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? This is the host of the Buzzing with Marlowe podcast, and we are live. That's right, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday, man. It's been a week. I'm ready for Friday. But, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, most importantly, subscribe. Hit that notification bell to stay in contact with all our platforms. Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram, Snapchat, all that, Tumblr, Reddit. We're on Reddit now, guys. We're all over, and of course, you can catch us on all audio platforms as well. Just to name a few: Google Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, Podvine, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all Apple platforms. Yes, yes, yes. All right, guys. I hope everybody's doing well, man. It is Friday, finally. Let me say that again, finally. And man, I know people have been excited. I know everybody was giving me great feedback from last week. It was about time we got some interviews back up and rolling. If y'all want to blame somebody, you blame my daughter. She the one that came in here and just all my episodes on the path. So all the interviews were down. So we were just like, hey, we're gonna keep the content going. And I want to appreciate say thank you to everybody about all the Buzzing with Gaming following, the likes, the shares, everything. Seriously, thank y'all. I just played around. I was like, hey, we're going to continue to have some content out, and the Buzzing with Gaming did exceptional. I was really astounded by it, really appreciated from it. But guys, let's get in and talk about the ones that pay the bills. First and foremost, I want to thank about, I've been a little sluggish today. It's Friday, but I need some jittles energy. So you know where I go? I go to w.gg and I go and get me some of this Calio cream, the big energy tears. Oh man, or maybe some beach and peach, or some lovely push and punch. There's so many different options just to name those selection of a few, but you can go on that website and get which one you prefer. And of course, if you are not sure what flavor you will like, you can go and get a sample pack that gives you a shaker powder. It includes 3 sample flavors of your choice. That's right, guys. And they also have some great deals. You can get a bundle. You can get 3 or 4 of these daggone tubs for less than $130. Wow. And of course, they got hoodies, t-shirts, hats. And if you're a NASCAR fan, I know there's some out there. They have some awesome bumper stickers. You type that promo code BUZZ20. Let me say it again. BUZZ20 with the, wait for it, a capital B, guys. No lowercase. You have to put the capital B to get the 10% off of your purchase. Shout out to W with all that Jittlerless energy. Also, shout out to W for their 3 years running that great organization, that company, that brand that is taking the energy drinks by storm. And guys, if you want to try to get away from the coffee and stuff like that, highly recommend it. It's only like 100 milligrams of caffeine at the most. You have to at least put like 4 or 5 scoops in to even be close to what a Bang energy drink can is. So, I mean, it's really good. If you're sensitive to caffeine and stuff like that, this is a really good opener. And just to try it out, you can baby it, whatever, but definitely check it out. All right, guys. Also, we have our merch. We have them updated. That's right, guys. I got Mr. Red, White, and Blue in the store for you. That's right, guys. You got so many options. You got a long sleeve, the short sleeve, the V-neck, the long sleeve, the 3/4 sleeves, you know, those concert t-shirts that people like. Those are the new favorites now, I guess. Also, if you can tell from the American Prodigy shirt, they even have that really cool American flag on the back. It says Prodigy Nation. If you feel like you want to get those hands up and scream USA all the way for yours truly, Mr. Red, White, and Blue, go to Bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe. Go in there and get you some of that awesome merch. And of course, man, we have that every setback makes one heck of a comeback. If you feel like you have been going down, you've been knocked down, but you get back up 20, that is a great option for you as well. We have those in tank tops, guys. I will include that. We do have them in tank tops. I apologize. We don't have them in tank tops yet for American Prodigy shirts yet. Trust me, I am so heavily trying to get that in the process. But the biggest thing about American Prodigy shirts, those are with youth sizes, all youth sizes. It's not just certain ones, it's all youth sizes. I know that was the biggest one we needed to get going. And of course, guys, you see that cool slogan, every setback makes one heck of a comeback, that even has that morphing into season 5 logo on the back. Man, let me tell you, that is a really cool design. And of course, guys, we have morphing into season 5 of its own. Yes, it's a little bit pricier because of the dark coloring, the in-depth sharp coloring is the reason why it's a little bit more pricier than all the other shirts. But we have them in tank tops, hoodies, V-neck, long sleeves. Ladies, we have it in the Razorbacks. I know summertime's coming. You want to show off that skin, show off that nice little back. You can wear those things and get a nice little tan on the back side of your back and all that stuff. Obviously, we have the hats. I usually don't even promote the hats anymore because the hats are the ones that go off the shelf. I try to remind everybody, we have t-shirts, but hey, if you buying the hats, you're doing your thing, and I appreciate all the love and contribute that you do every single time. Guys, you can get all these awesome merches on Bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe. Type in the promo code BUZZ20, capital B. Let's say it again, capital B, BUZZ20, and you will get 12% off of your purchase. We're only doing 12% off this month of May because it is my birthday month. So we're going to have a little special time for it. But guys, go and get you some awesome Buzzing with Marlowe gear at that Bonfire Slab. Shout out to Bonfire for always supporting Buzzing with Marlowe with all our apparel needs. All right, guys, it is time. I'm excited for today. We've been having a lot of fun. I know I've been on countless podcasts lately. I want to shout out to everyone that's been doing amazing jobs with just doing content, creating everything, man. It's been a wild ride. It's been fun. Playing around, getting prepared, you know, with American Prodigy, being back and forth in towns and promotions and stuff. Again, it's been really fun, man. Just everything overall. I know a lot of people have been asking about my son. He's doing a lot better. I appreciate all the love and support with the prayers that everyone's been doing with that. But yeah, man, this month of May, I turned 33. So, I mean, I can't really complain. 33 years around the sun. I will be officially 33 on the 22nd. My wife turns 30. Turns 30 next Friday. She might tell you she's turned 29 again. I don't know. The Lord only knows. But I think it's kind of cool. We're going to wrestle. We're going to SmackDown for her birthday, for her gift, and she wanted it. I don't want to hear nobody say, "Why are you taking her to a wrestling bit?" She wanted to go, so I'm not going to second guess and question that at all. Okay, so we going to SmackDown next Friday night. So I'm looking forward to that. We got our daughter. She's graduating pre-K. That same day, that morning. So it's a lot of things going on. And of course, summertime is starting. So the kids are rampant and it's time to just go magnificent, chaotic. So y'all stay tuned for those commission talks because I'm going to have dad rants for days when we get to going with that. But guys, it's been an absolute great week. We've been planning a lot of cool things going on. I've got a lot of great stuff in store going on. I want to also remind everybody I will not be taking a break this summer. We basically took a good break for a good bit, well, based off of family issues with my son being in and out of the hospital. So technically that was the break. So we're going to continue on. Buzzing with Marlowe is going to continue live episodes all through the summer. So we might take our break maybe in September or something like that. We don't know yet, but for right now, we're going to be ready to go. We're going to be live as much as we can, and there will be an episode every single Friday until we say, hey, it's going to be time to take a break, but we will be ready. But guys, I'm excited for today. A lot of great things going on in the world. NBA. I never would have thought the Timberwolves were going to be a juggernaut NBA team. The last time I thought the Timberwolves were a dominating team is a movie by Disney. Their star player. He's a four-legged. He barks around and he could shoot a basketball. He could catch a football. He could play volleyball. The dog could even play baseball. That's the only time I remember the Timberwolves ever being a dominating team. And needless to say, they pretty nasty in this NBA playoffs right now. So if you're not following the NBA playoffs, I would definitely tell you to go look at that one particular team because they got Michael Jordan in this generation right now. Yes, I said it. Michael Jordan. It's Michael's doppelganger brother. He played from Back to the Future or something and found Anthony. I mean, like I can't. This guy is an insane player. I know we've been talking about this GOAT talk, whatever, but this guy's about to knock all that out the water within the next 3 seasons, I think. But enough of that. I know we got NFL talking and all that stuff. It's going to be really cool. A lot of cool things going on with sports. Nothing new with my Jaguars. Yeah, they're a team. We're coming back a year. I don't know what else we can really say. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor, help us. Help us, okay? I mean, we can't get any more loud for you, man. Y'all give us a swimming pool. Y'all do all these things, but Jacksonville, help us. But yeah, but other than that, we also got the cool thing of pro wrestling. We're still getting off of the aftermath of WrestleMania, how exceptionally amazing that was. Obviously, every promotion has been doing their thing. TNA, man, I've been telling people TNA is coming up. They're making me so proud. And I believe in Joe Hendry. But guys, I love talking about wrestling, and I think it's going to be a great guest today. My guest today is going to be a wrestling historian. That's right. I got Herman Professor Bear. Yes, if you didn't watch the After Dark where he was on with my boy, me and Blackheart, which y'all also check that out every week. That's a new show on the OTTR network. We're going to be on every single week after the dark. And we're also going to have it's never going to be planned anything we're going to do. But if you saw that episode, you saw this great person that's going to be on, man. He is a wrestling historian. We were talking about NWA. I can't tell you the last person I've been able to talk about NWA with somebody in a long time. For me to be 33 years of age, everybody's blown away to know, hey, I know anything about NWA, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, stuff like that. But this guy right here knows his stuff. I'm going to be looking forward to talking with my great friend, Professor Bear. But guys, so you know what's going to happen. So when the countdown goes 31, when we come back from the commercial break, we will be joined with the wrestling historian himself, Mr. Herman Professor Bear. And ladies and gentlemen, that starts in 3, 2, 1, right now. Y'all enjoy. It's going to be fun.
Perfect.
Okay. Whoa! Whoa! Meow! Shish!
That's it, buddy. You're out of here.
No!
right, guys, he is here. Herman Professor Barricade. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing wonderful, man. Thank you for having me. Man, I already know this is going to be a great interview.
We had a lot of fun last time, man.
Oh, man.
Like I tell people, man, a lot of people are so blown away. Obviously, as young as I am, and I could talk about Smoky Mountain Wrestling and stuff like that, because that is those are the most wrestling I ever watched when I got into being a pro wrestler, was watching all those guys, because that's something I've learned, man. Obviously, me being a diehard Rock fan, the moveset just wasn't the clicking standpoint of how to actually be a pro wrestler type scenario to get into the business and stuff like that. So seeing guys, you know, in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling eras, you know, the AWA, the AIWF, stuff like that, man, it's just really cool to actually be able to connect with people that actually understand those stuff, because all the wrestling fans now is like, oh, if you don't know Japan, you don't know these, you don't know these. That's the wrestling talk. So, man, it's really awesome.
It is funny. I laugh all the time when I get to talk. I always try to throw a little nostalgia talk into whatever I do, because one of the things I always try to make sure that fans understand, you may love it now, but it was a whole different genre back then. And there's so much you can learn, and you can, and I get it sometimes with some of the older wrestlers, they sound all negative and just harsh, but it was their livelihood, and they just want to keep that tradition alive. So they have a hard time letting stuff go, or man, you doing all these flip-de-doos and it don't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen both perspectives into that. Obviously, you know, me being terrified of pile drivers and me seeing what a certain individual did on a Wednesday night on steel steps and pop up in 10 seconds. I'm just like, we're doing it again. We're doing it again. We're trying to make wrestling look so, and this is something I want to know if you agree with this. We try to make wrestling so believable, especially on the independent audience. Now, we want to make wrestling more believable than it was before, because that's something that we kind of got the one up on, you know, the past in wrestling, even though it was more built up and more real because nobody knew what fake was back in the day. But, you know, for the same scenario, because we're laying our forearms in, we're laying these punches in, and sometimes we're laying them in too much. And it's the fact that because when we're doing stuff like what we saw on Wednesday with a certain individual on take out pile driver on steel steps and then pop back up in 10 seconds, it makes it to where people's storyline of, you know, this is scripted, you know, this is fake. It makes it more believable because there is no human being that's going to take a pile driver and be able to stand up instantly on something like that. So what is your take on that?
The first thing I thought when I saw it, I was like, Jesus, you don't know how to sell anymore? Why do I want to watch this match? And the thing is, I was kind of into it. But like you said, I need people to sell. You got to hook the audience to your moves. When you're doing 16 super kicks, and the same results happen, why in the hell am I going to do a super kick for then? It's like, oh, you super kick. Well, I'm a super kick you. We do it 18 times, then we fall down.
What was it, like a duck? See, this is the only reason why I did not like the steel cage, the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks match. And I guess it was the very first. It was either Double or Nothing or All In. One of those ones. It was the very first one they had. Everybody kept talking about it was the greatest cage match I've ever done. I didn't like it because of that one particular thing. Because the stupid circle around, it looked like you were playing Duck Duck Goose on super kicks. I'm like, is this what we're doing now? Like, really? Like, you let Shawn Michaels teach you how to do a super kick, because he didn't really pull back when he was kicking you. Like, they have said it countless times. Shawn Michaels would kick you in your throat at times. Like, to see these things of what they do now, and I'm just like, bro, like, really, we're playing Duck Duck Goose with super kicks, and we're trying to make the audience believe this is a truly nostalgia type of fight. Like, really?
And here's the thing about it. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with 20 super kicks, but when you deflate that move, then you turn around on Dynamite and you have a jobber gets beat by one super kick. It's like, you suck. you suck. And I get it. You're trying to make your talent look good, but Jesus, you can't keep using the same move sets over and over again against an incredible person and a jobber, and then think that people are going to believe that move. Like, it's not even the move. What gets me, any move now, they want it to look like it kills you, and it's unsafe. And some of them, like DDTs used to end the match. One DDT.
That's an opening.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it 17 times and kick it. I understand why a lot of older wrestlers get pissed because, as they call them, spot monkeys. But there are some individuals who are younger that respect the business that blends both. You can do both. You just have to make sure it's credible looking.
Right.
And not try to sell everything. So I punch you, you faint. It's like, I just punched you, man. Get up. You got to be tougher to take a punch. Like, nobody really. It seems like nobody really put enough thought into what I need to do to set up to make myself look credible. Then when I have a big feud, bring out something that I don't use often, but once they see it, they know it's the end. Now you have, say, like I'm wrestling Daniel Bryan and my move is the super kick. Well, let's say I pull out and do a frog splash. I don't do it often, but I do it and everybody goes crazy. If he kicks out of that, okay, I'm boggled. So now maybe I go with something else, or I do the frog splash again. I don't want to oversell that frog splash. So I'm like, okay, I didn't get it the first time. Okay, I might do it again. I will not do it more than 3 times. I have to come up with another way of beating you. And the art is gone. A lot of people lose the art of it, and it's sad. But again, I always preface this: I am a wrestling fan. I've never wrestled. I've never did training. I've never did this. This is my opinion. I don't want to offend people, but this is what I see. I still love the business and I love it, but make it where it's credible to me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. You get more people feeling better when you think it's credible instead of he knocked him out. He's bleeding all over the place. The bell rings. He jumped back up and started beating him down. I'm like, you just knocked him out. There's blood everywhere. What? I get it. I get they're trying to tell a bigger story, but it just makes both of them look bad. It takes it down for me.
And this is something that I've learned, especially with movies, man. You can't over dramatize some of the storytelling. Sometimes just let the basic bland storytelling happen. People can catch that viewer and connect with it and attach more into it based off the storytelling than you trying to just overdo it. And that's something I've really noticed with movies too, is like, oh, we got to add this, we got to add this, we got to add this. No, you didn't. You didn't have to do all that, because there's some movies that it doesn't need it. And that's what I feel like with wrestling matches is, if a wrestling match before it had super kicks and stuff. Family life. You gotta love it.
Hey, I'm there too. I understand.
You really had to open the door.
So, fans listening, I just want y'all to understand this. That it's not that I hate stuff, because I don't. I love wrestling. And like anything else, it's just my opinion of what I see. It's not a knock on any of those professionals. Just sometimes you got to pull back and think more before you do things. If you go into a feud, it needs, sometimes the simplest feud can be A and B. Just like one I'm actually looking forward to is Tony Storm and what is her name? Serena Deeds. I'm looking forward to that. The story is simple. Serena Deeds does wrestling, and Tony has a gimmick. And as good as just a simple bill for a world title match. And the thing about Tony is so over right now. She's smart enough to not put too much on it. And everybody's still gonna love it because of who Tony Storm is. But it's giving you a different element to see her truly wrestle someone that can wrestle. They're gonna have I hate to even say it so early, but they're probably going to have the best match on the card. It's going to still.
Oh yeah. There ain't no doubt. And this is the funny thing I do want to say about Toni Storm. Toni Storm was against that when she was in WWE. She was against, that character standpoint because she's like, oh, it lacks my talent, whatever. But now she's seeing what the key really does for her, because that one move on Wednesday where she took the hit from Serena, that told more of a story than like half the matches on Dynamite. And that's something that I realize, and I try to tell people all the time, man, sometimes less is legitimately more. And it's like, the thing is, when you make it matter, that's where that captivating moment is going to be at. And it clicks, and it's like, oh, I can't wait till this pay-per-view. I can't wait to spend X amount of dollars for this one pay-per-view just for that match. Because that's one thing I do say about AEW a lot. The one that captivates you and makes you want to watch the show is Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm. And that's the most insane thing to me, because at the longest time, Toni was so against being a character and all that. And now she's so over based off of her basically biting her own her tongue and realizing, oh, this really does work. And not only that, it's expressing my wings, and I'm getting more than I've ever been over on the Indies or the England area and stuff like that. She is getting insanely high popularity just in wrestling now. What's up?
Yeah.
What's up, Ambassador?
And it's so funny too. And because I heard, of course, the tribalism, AEW there, WWE there. Well, look, every promotion has something to offer. It may not be your cup of tea. I just can't understand why people want to be so tribalistic and break something down and tear it apart. I just don't get it. Like, I don't watch a lot of Impact. And the reason being is not that it's not good. It's not that they don't have the storyline. Impact changes channels so often that I can't find it. That's their only, I promise you, if Impact could get a major television deal where they could compete with AEW and WWE, they would give them a run for the money.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, the crowd's already almost there.
Honestly,
in the shows, I've said it countless times. Like, my daughter, she was a big Sasha Banks fan, right? This is I'm getting to that part. Now, they were just in Jackson, and I could have had a chance to take my daughter to go see Sasha Banks, but she's not Sasha Banks. She's Mercedes Moné. My daughter don't care for Mercedes Moné. She's literally said that is not her. She has rainbow hair. Sasha has blue hair. Like, blue hair Sasha is all my daughter will care about. So every time I play Sasha Banks song, I have to make sure it's the Snoop Dogg edition, because that's the blue haired one. She doesn't like the purple hair. She doesn't like the rainbow hair. And I sat there and said, hey, do you want to play? Hey, there you go. Give him a shout out. Yeah, appreciate it, Ambassador. Definitely. But she does not care for that CEO song at all. I tried to play it with my daughter, and my daughter just looked at it and said, no, this ain't Sasha. This ain't Sasha. Because I was like, we could have got really good tickets, and she could have personally met her that day. Wow. My daughter wasn't going to care about it because she don't have the right hair. My daughter is like her mom, headstrong on it. If it's not what that appearance is, she ain't going for it. And I think that is the best when you talk about certain people, because and I'd said it numerous times, I would give Mercedes Moné a chance, but you got to stand out from the Sasha Banks nostalgia for someone to care it to really go, oh, this is the thing. Because in my perspective, my perception with this whole thing right now is Sasha Banks could cut a promo way the heck better than Mercedes Moné can play on Freedom on promos on stuff. Because I have been seeing people rip this poor the lady that is making more money than most women wrestlers right now in this nostalgia altogether. And it's just like you could tell the big differences with the stuff. What's up, OTTR? But it's so funny when you see these things, and like I say it all the time. There's two people that took the biggest benefit, actually now three, that took the biggest benefit for AEW. Obviously now Swerve Strickland, definitely Swerve. John Moxley, I'll always say that one. He really did something for AEW.
Yes,
and
he
now
did.
Timeless Tony Storm. Like those are the three that I could say really have done a huge attribute to make this product have, you know, that history tree in later down the roads type scenario. Now, I'm a big fan of Edge. I'm sorry that Adam Copeland, I get it, that's his actual name, but still, you're rocking the rated R superstar gimmick and you're still kind of that same character. So it's like you're just not Edge in AEW, but you are Edge at the same time. But it's like you gotta steer away from it. As same thing with Bryan Danielson. Even though we know him as Daniel Bryan, he does a lot of different stuff than what he would do from AEW standpoint, what he would do in WWE, which I think he's now going, hey, I know why y'all told me not to do these moves because all this stuff that's going on with him now. But it's like sometimes you got to learn from these things. And I get it. It's a fun learning curve. I get it. People want to get the bag early, get the money, get that money, you know. Hey, pro wrestlers don't make a fortune out of these things. So, yeah, that's get the money, definitely.
I think when it comes to well, let me start with Sasha Banks. The problem with Sasha, they debuted her too early when they knew she couldn't wrestle. If she could have wrestled a month ago, you wouldn't hear so much negativity about her. People are just getting sick and tired of seeing her talk. And granted, she's definitely cut better promos, but they ain't like they're not the worst.
You can't even defend it.
I had to think about it. It ain't the worst.
I know you want to defend it so bad. I remember the last time we were talking about it, but I mean, it is true, and it's sad because I was like, dang, man, I really thought she could cut some promos. And I was like, that's why she made the money that she's getting. And then you're listening to her, and it's like,
well,
you might need a script.
Look at it like this. She's been there. What have she done? So she can't talk about nothing but being a CEO. She got money.
Yeah. You can only talk about your New Japan match, which I get it in the AEW audience. They will understand that, which is understandable. Which we saw an example with WWE. You had two legit Georgia boys going against each other one-on-one. I said that was a story right there. Like, honestly, you know, AJ facing Dusty and then now facing Cody Rhodes in a world championship title match, which is a huge accolade for anybody. And for him to wear the purple, that was the little bit of storytelling that you needed in that match, which, of course, they could have done a little bit more with it. But I could understand it, and I was already invested because I've been watching these two, you know, from the grow-ups pain and stuff like that. So seeing that, you could understand where that match was coming. But when you see Mercedes' standpoint, and then, of course, you know, WWE, when they were referencing Bullet Club, you didn't really get a reaction out of the crowd. So that's where you could tell the crowd is like where they know their base audience. So AEW could tease like, hey, Willow, you know, we did face each other. You hurt me type scenario, because obviously most of the AEW crowd is legit New Japan fans as well.
Right.
So that was understandable in that perspective. And I thought she could really took advantage of that. And I feel like she digressed insanely off of that and only relying on that so much. She could have made, she could have actually done it where, hey, I'm commentating in matches, just kind of like just do like what CM Punk's doing. I'm not a CM Punk fan at all, but you could just tell this guy is really having fun. Like at first, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, you just came back just so you can fix your reputation, but you could honestly tell now that he is really enjoying himself, which is kind of crazy to say because, like, you know who's running the business, and he was on a podcast talking all kinds of mess about him. So it's like, you know, it's just so funny when you see all these different things and why it is having trouble for Mercedes to, you know, get her across with that audience, because in a way, I thought she would get more across with that audience than what she would in the WWE audience for the longest time. I mean, of course, bring her in Boston. That's going to be a smart thing at first. But my thing is, if you're legitimately an over character, you have to put it into an area that you're not familiar with. I feel like that's where you know, hey, are you really that draw that they're saying? And that's what I've always had a problem with CM Punk always coming back on in Chicago. Bro, come in New York, come into something else. I need to know if you're really going to get that pop sensation. Like, those are the things that I would love to do. I get it. Yes, the market standpoint, Chicago market, you've got to have Punk on the card. Cool, whatever. But you got to learn how to do that certain thing. Like, bro, it's a great example. When they debuted Johnny Gargano, Gargano wasn't nowhere near Cleveland, and he got a pop on it, which was insane because you're thinking, oh, man, Johnny Gargano's died out already. He done too much on NXT. He's not going to be able to bring enough on the main roster. And for him to get that reaction out of that crowd, so that tells you a little bit in the investment of still what he's brought. And that's something I feel like they really need to work on with AEW and certain things. Get them established. Get that nostalgia where it's really getting that focus to understand, hey, I was here, but I'm here now. And this is what you're going to get out of me here. Aggressive or something like that. Just something a little different. You having different hair colors saying I'm CEO and all this. All it is you're not saying legit boss right now. Like, that's all I'm getting out of this.
Yeah. And with that too, and going back to, she's been out for a year. So
I'm not a CM Punk. You better go on with that.
So she's been out for a year. So she doesn't have anything to really talk about. And I get it. But I think too, like you said, they missed the ball with her, but everything is going to change when she wrestles. If she goes in and tears it up like I expect her to, then nobody's even going to remember that crap. Because let's be honest, we are fickle fans. You can do something. Sometimes with certain people, we will never let something go. Then with other people, like, oh, well, it's him, he'll be all right, and forget about it. Like CM Punk. I'm not a Punk fan. Actually, he is getting on my everlasting nerves. But I understand what
Drew's making it. I think the only reason why CM Punk is okay right now is because of the stuff he's doing with Drew. And that's my honest opinion with it. The stuff that Drew is doing with CM Punk right now is the reason why you're getting CM Punk on screen a lot more right now. Because you want to see, right? In reality, it might be the roles reversed. Everybody might be waiting to see Drew punch CM Punk. Even though it's supposed to be the other way, I think everybody is waiting for Drew to finally one-up CM Punk.
And well, I'm looking forward to seeing if Punk can make it 5 matches without breaking something.
Oh,
I mean, that's my big word.
I thought it was funny, bro. I've had injuries in the ring, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have got hurt, whatever. But bro, you were in the Rumble. You weren't in the Rumble at number 10 or anything. You were number 27. Halfway through a 30-man Rumble, and you get hurt. You tore your tricep off of a rope, bro. Come on, man.
Well, look at it like this, too. He broke his foot by jumping in the crowd like an idiot.
That's true.
Then his elbow, he's just not, he's past his prime. He's a talker. He will always be able to talk. He can do commentary. But wrestling, that's why I'm like,
it's not there no more.
It's
You've done
like,
too
man,
much.
don't put the long-term plans with him. That take that.
See what's happening with Raw right now, which I will say Raw was very good this go around because that's the first time I've ever seen a Raw where it was legit almost full wrestling for 3 hours, just a legitimate wrestling. And like every King of Ring match they got a good 8 to almost 10 minutes every match. Even some got 15 minutes. I was like, I'm not used to this.
I was definitely shocked with the women because they give them 2-3 minutes to keep rolling. But man, the Ivy Nile match was pretty good.
People are underestimating that girl. She's actually pretty damn talented. She's pretty talented.
Look, another Knoxville girl. You better recognize Knoxville be sending no heat now. Come on, I'm just telling people that everybody just like, oh, Bianca. Don't sleep on Ivy. She coming up too.
Bro, she coming. Just because that girl's small, don't underestimate that child. Bro, I saw the videos with. Have you seen her with her tag team where he's doing a pull up? He's doing squats with her. She's holding the bar, handstanding, and he's doing squats with the bar and stuff. I'm like, that is unheard of. There ain't nobody doing this stuff no more. Nobody even chancing that. Like seeing stuff like that, I'm just like, bro, don't underestimate my Ivy. When she can really get expressing her character and play around and see what she really can do, it's gonna be sky to the limit for her. I see her as like another Ivory. She gives me like an Ivory look. She's like one of those technical wrestlers. It's just she's waiting to really get that chance to showcase what she can bring.
Oh yeah, she gets as soon as she develops her character and they give her a chance, I think she's gonna knock it out the park.
Oh yeah,
I really do. And like you were saying with Raw, I was like, wow, okay. Because and honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Most times when I watch Raw, Dynamite, whatever,
skipping bits.
I'm sitting.
We ain't lying about it. We wrestling fans, but we skipping bits, bro.
Man, skipping or doing this on my phone, doing something. I look up. Oh, then it catch my attention. Man. But then it's like, oh shit, what did I miss? And I had to rewind it back. Unless there's a good promo on something, or I see somebody I've been waiting to see, that's when I'm really paying attention. And it's just, and I think we love wrestling, but sometimes we consume so much
now, and that's something I want to actually ask you about. Like, what is your perspective of, because like we just said, man, there's so much wrestling. Like I say it all the time, man. I try to watch at least 3 things of wrestling if I can. I'll watch it on YouTube as much as I can just to kind of like feed into it. But most of the time when I'm watching YouTube, I'm doing my studies. I'm watching film to study, Biggest thing I've been working on studying right now is like TV presentation matches, which is a big transition to what we're all, especially indie wrestlers can vouch for this, is what different placements in the matches, and you're working in facing the cameras. That was something that I've always had trouble was if there's more than 5 cameras, make sure I'm facing every different camera angle to keep it in that middle type scenario.
Right.
But watching TNA, watching WWE, watching AEW, watching MLW, watching this and that and this and that.
Man, and see, I'm also the scout for WSN, so I'll be looking at a lot of independent wrestling and wrestlers. And then it's like, man, that was pretty good. If they had their lighting a little better, they will smack. Or if they did this, man, so I just sit and watch so much wrestling. And then some days it's like, okay, I'm going to take a about 2-hour break of no wrestling. Or like today, me and my wife, it's like, hey, babe, it's date night. Yeah, babe, I got an interview. I'm sorry. Then I get the look. Then I got the makeup for it. She like, and thank God I have a wife that's understanding and knows this is my passion and what I have to do.
I love you saying that because literally my wife I had her on my podcast, and the biggest question everybody was waiting to ask her is, "How do you like being married to a pro wrestler?" And my wife, she has no filter at all. She's like, "I'm not answering these questions. I'm not answering anything regarding pro wrestling. We can get into it a little bit, maybe talk about the NXT or something like that. I am not talking about my husband and wrestling because that will make the episode really downhill off of that." Which we actually did. Obviously, she watched back on the episode and she's like, maybe I was a little too harsh. I was like, "You really think so? Oh, okay. That's nice to know. At least you realized after 8 people told you, like, you just like really crapped on that one, but all right." Oh yeah, Ambassador really had a field day with officially Team Samantha. So yeah, Samantha's got a little of a group now. I kind of got famous off my wife now, apparently, what people have told me.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. I made a shirt for me and my wife, and it says, "Sometimes I'm Batman, sometimes I'm Robin, but we're definitely a dynamic duo."
I like that. I like that combo. I like that. But like how you said that, because my wife's birthday is next Friday, and we're going to SmackDown because it's in Jacksonville, SmackDown. And a lot of people are like, "Why are you taking Samantha to SmackDown?" I was like, she wanted to go. First of all, that wasn't fully my choice. I was literally at the point, I was like, all right, I know I'm watching this at home. There ain't no way she's letting this one slide on her birthday. Oh yeah, we in trouble for this one. If I even think about buying tickets for that one. And she wanted to really go. She messaged me. She's like, hey, she sent me this thing. She's like, hey, I can find deals, whatever. And then she was talking to one of my friends that I know that's connected over there as well. She was like, well, they said we can do this and this. And I was like, are you sure you want to go? Like, do you remember what you said on my show? Are you sure you want to go? Like 5 times before we did it. But it was so funny. And I mean, yeah, we're going to SmackDown, and that's our birthday gift.
And it's funny. Next week is my first year anniversary. Me and my wife are going out of town, and so I'm not doing anything. I already told everybody I'm off the radar unless it's an emergency.
Put that plane on airplane mode.
Unless it's an emergency, don't expect me to answer. So we were talking about it, and I'm planning stuff. And her thing is she loves local wrestling. She loves it. She always like, baby, when we're going again. Well, I was planning. I saw it's gonna be some local here in June 1st, and I was like, hey, babe, we can go June 1st. She's like, cool. I already got the tickets and everything. Then I was like, babe, we get back Saturday, next Saturday, they got some local wrestling. Go get tickets, baby. Go. So she just loves it. And it's so much fun to see it from her perspective too, where sometimes they'll start messing with us, say something, and I just sit back and laugh at myself like, she's loving this. She's loving this.
It's really cool for the women now, which it wasn't cool back then. But I mean, my mom got me into watching wrestling. I say it all the time, man. My mom, it was either I got into wrestling or I'm just going to be watching this like a Days of Our Lives type of ordeal. And it's like you're just waiting for it to get over so you can watch your VR Troopers or Power Rangers or something.
Yes,
like that. So I had no choice. But obviously my mom was big on Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold. And my mom was forcing me to watch Stone Cold highlights all the time. And literally I was just like, I don't like them because I mean I was raised in a very like safe goody good home, so I'm like, I don't know why he's got to drink beer all the time, you know, all that. And I was like against it. And I saw when The Rock had the cast and he did the people's elbow to the Undertaker and his banner dropped, and I was just like, I like him. And I was like, when I first started liking wrestling, like I've been watching wrestling for like over 2 years, but I didn't really get into it until I started watching The Rock. And because my mom always made me watch all this damn Stone Cold highlights. And I'm just like, Mom, Can he really just keep stuffing beer down someone's throat like that? Like, come on, like every single time. And then I was mad. And the reason why I really started liking Rock too, because then that's when the feud between him and Austin were getting to the point. I was like, oh yeah, mom, my guy's gonna whoop your guys behind. like because my mom was a Miami Hurricane fan for the longest time, and I went for the Gators because my dad liked them for the extent. I liked everything my dad liked for a moment. And and this is when Miami was dominating. Like Miami was just unbeatable, whatever, which it's been for how long now? It's sad to say. But Miami was dominating at that time, and Miami just crucified Florida that year. And my mom just looked at it and said, how you feel, Warren? Your teams loses and your boy loses. And that hurt me. Like, I had to deal with that. And then I had to go to school because I got the Rock shirts and stuff, because this is when Kmart was still in the gear. Anybody don't know about no Kmart now. Kmart had wrestling galore. Every aisle was something with pro wrestling or WWF. And of course, there was a little bit of WCW. Obviously, when Goldberg got in there, that's when WCW stuff started getting popular with Kmart and stuff. But you always got something with pro wrestling in Kmart. And man, when I see all these Austin 316 shirts all the freaking time, and then at WrestleMania 15 happened, and I'm sitting there seeing and hearing that, because I wasn't watching pay-per-views at the time, because mom's not paying for the pay-per-views. Right. We're going to wait on that AOL and just wait for the results to happen, because they'll show the picture where the guy's just looking in the stars like, oh, that person lost type scenario. And I remember like it was yesterday, 10 minutes of that. And then it finally connected, and then I see Rock lost to Stone Cold. I'm like, man. And I was just like, why? He cheated. And then my mom was like, no, he cheated. And then, of course, we had like this video warehouse, and they used to bring like all the old, VHSs and stuff. And I mean, they had the Great American Bash, all these different things. So I would literally get off of wrestling knowledge just from watching all these videos, which I could rent these things all day. That was like my thing. If I did good in school, I would get to rent one of the videos. And it was just really cool. And then I got to watch that match, and I was like, damn, Rock, you really did try to cheat, and you still lost. Like, why? Like, because I never went for the bad guy in any type of thing. Cartoons, nothing. And then when I was like watching, my mom's like, so how does it feel you going for a bad guy? I was like, no, Stone Cold's the bad guy. He's coming in here with a skull and all that. No, like, you ain't telling me that's a good guy. Smoking skull and all that. Come on now. But yeah, man, that's my little rant. But I connected watching The Rock, watching wrestling and stuff like that, because I was terrified of The Undertaker. Terrified of him. And when them eyes rolled the back of his head, and this is when I really started watching when that Ministry Taker. That is the most horrifying thing I have ever seen on a human being. That beard, his hair, the way he looked. I'm sorry, Spawn, Freddy, Jason, all them have nothing compared to that. When that man rolled his eyes in the back of the head and fire starts coming up, bro, I'm gone. You got it. You got it, bro. You ain't seeing me.
It's fun. You made me think of a story. So I'm 50 years old. So I used to work at Toys R Us.
I remember you telling us on that one.
And
Toys R Us.
And man, I would get the figures because I collected them. People said whatever. I'm like, I don't care. And I had them all on my wall, all over. Well, of course, I got a son and a daughter, and they seeing them, and they understood. That's dad's toys. Don't touch dad toys. Okay, so it was going like that. So then got to a point where we needed money. And so what I do, I take any of my hottest figures that I knew would sell, end up selling them. Oof. Man, broke my father's heart because he knew how much I was into wrestling and comic books. And one day it just got really bad, and I took a bunch of that stuff and sold it. My dad looked at me. One of the few times I ever seen my father cry. I just saw a tear run down his eye. He's like, boy, you know you could have came to me. I said, yeah, I know, but I got to do what I got to do. And I know he was proud of me, but just that my son has became a man, and I know he wanted me to go get that stuff back, but it was what it was. So another thing
I like that now, because I look back now because I'm like, dang man, I wish I hadn't opened half the action figures I had. You remember the Titantron where they had the little the little pieces on the feet, and you put it on and the Titantron would come on, which of course they had all the superstars, and then they would just have random. Most of them would always play Vince's song out of all things, which was kind of weird to me, which that was a Santa Claus gift for me. And but I always knew it was a bad day when Undertaker's song came on. I never put that toy on that entrance thing because his face was, and there was that ministry one, and he's sitting there doing that. I'm like, oh man, I would never have the lights off. This is how terrified I was of this man. Never have the lights off, even for that quick 30 seconds of that song playing on that Titantron. I would not do it. I'm telling people, I was terrified of this man. And the only time I finally got over this fear is when we were on which actually I was at a live event. It was a Jacksonville live event. It was not a televised show. For the longest time, Jacksonville never got TV shows. Like our first SmackDown was when Brock Lesnar was a champion. I think third time was the first time we got a televised show. But there was a house show, and Taker just came back when him and Kane at WrestleMania. And I was super excited because I'm thinking Undertaker's in the motorcycle. I haven't seen him in the motorcycle. I'm excited to see that Taker. I'm okay. Hell no, this man came back as the damn Phenom. And he come in there with the hat, the trench coat, and then of course they like to play around in the house shows. He didn't come on the damn entrance. No. I'm about to go to the bathroom, so I'm going a little bit up the stairs a little bit to turn on the side. I see the lights just turn off because I know he's coming. So that's why I was running to the bathroom. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was running to the bathroom because his song was coming out. And so I hear the gong, and then I'm just sitting there. So literally the lights go off, so I just drop in a position like this. Not even further down. I swear to you, not even like maybe a foot away. Guess who's at that side of that stairs where I got to cross and go to the bathroom? In there, hands up, eyes were on the back of his head. I was just like, and he could tell I was terrified. And he was smirking. He's like, "It's okay, kid, but rest in peace." I jolted. But no, that was my scare story. But then obviously we went to it was finally they had a Monday Night Raw in Jacksonville. It was the build up between him, Shawn Michaels. It was either the first, it might have been the second one because Shawn Michaels was begging Taker to do the match, Taker stuttered on his words, and I was just like, okay, he's a human being. I'm okay. Like that was the only time I got comfortable and okay with Undertaker. That is my Undertaker rant. Like I kid you not, and I peed on myself that night too. So
I was sitting here waiting for it. I'm like,
I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. When he said "rest in peace," what's up, kid? Down my leg, and I mean, and this is that time where Dickies were a style for kids, and I had my white ones on. So yeah, I was really upset. Yeah, that was my story.
I got a story. You were talking about your mom. My mom and dad, they love playing cards, and they had a friend's house they go play cards at. Well, wrestlers, if they came, well, let me rephrase. Black wrestlers, when they came into town, they stopped there and played cards. And
I remember you telling us on that on the other show.
And so we walked in, and I'm thinking, because I think my mom said Thunderbolt Patterson was supposed to be there. So I'm like, Oh, he's one of my favorites. I'm happy jumping around because usually I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. I just stay home with dad or my brother's sister, whatever. And she said that, man, let's go. I'm in the car trying to drive. Let's go. We come walking in. I come around the corner. That's not Thunderbolt Patterson. That's Ernie the Cat Lad. Man. And as a kid, you know, everybody's big to you. But he stood up. And I said, I'm like, you ain't Thunderbolt. He's like, and I can't remember what he said, but he said something to me. Then he stood up out of his chair. When you talk about this man, I think what he was like 6'2", 6'3". That's where they book. I'm looking up at him like this, and I'm like, I need my dad because I can't beat him in. He'll beat mom too. I need dad. I just went out and sat in the car until my mom did play it. It's just like, you're big. Even if I
you ain't that big on TV,
right? And even if I kicked you, you ain't gonna feel it. So where's Daddy when I need him? Dad will take him.
And Dad be like, nah.
No, yeah.
Gonna get me in trouble, son.
It's so funny when you meet wrestlers at different points and places. It's either you're gonna meet, most of them are super friendly, they get it. Then sometimes you run into them when they're tired and different things. Like the one time I saw Rock live, he was here in Knoxville. He was eating at Hooters, and me and my buddy are like, oh crap, that's Rock. So I'm like, man, I walked up to him. I'm like, hey, you're the Rock. I don't mean to disturb you, but man, I just want to say how great you are. Really cool. Didn't blow up like, hey, thank you, blah blah blah. And I walked away, and I thought, man, that was just so cool. And I thought to myself too, man, I bet he gets tired of that. He gets so tired of that.
I don't think so, man. I just seen what he does on social media. I mean, bro, I talk about it all the time. I've been in wrestling for a long time. I've never met The Rock. Never have gotten to see this man live. Nothing. That is why I will be at WrestleMania next year.
Another funny one. I worked at Toys R Us. I was still working at Toys R Us. And watched, it was a Tuesday, I never forget it. Watched Raw like normal. And I had to open that morning. I'm standing in the electronics department. And I'm just standing there bored. And where the entrance is across, all the way across the store. So I'm standing there bored out of my mind. And I see this guy come walking up. And I guess what got me was I see bald guys all the time, but something was different about him. And it's like, wow. Then he's getting closer, and I'm like, damn, he's tall. He's taller than me. I'm 6'4". So I'm like, he keeps coming closer. I'm like, why do I know this guy? He came a little closer. Oh crap, it's Kane. And I'm like, then quickly in my mind, like, okay, y'all were, because I think they were out west that night. So I'm like, man, you had to fly back like late last night to get home.
Yeah.
So he comes walking up to me. Next thing I thought is, you're not as big as I thought you were. Or I'm bigger than I thought I was. Because, I don't know.
How big is that heel in that boot?
I don't know about you, but I really don't see myself as what people see. I'm 6'4", so yes, I'm a big guy, but to me, I'm just normal. Mm-hmm. So when Kane came up and he was like 3 inches maybe 4 than me. I'm like, man, you ain't as tall as I thought. Then I was like, oh, am I taller than I thought? So I'm just going through my mind. He walks in, and I didn't disturb him because I knew he had a long flight. He came in to buy something for his daughter. I rung him up and talked just real brief. Hey, man, I really love your stuff. He's like, well, thank you, and walked away. So
who'd ever thought this man be a mayor of?
Well, that's exactly where I was going next. So here's the
Big Red Monster is a mayor.
Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Why did my daughter get a picture with him?
What gimmick is this? Mayor Kane.
My daughter got a picture with him at her job.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, it was just cool. She was like, my dad loves you. Yeah, I did, until I started knowing his politics. Then he went downhill a little bit for me. but I can't fault him for his politics. I was like, man, you got good wrestling. And another thing, him and Tom Pritchard got a wrestling academy here.
Yeah. What is it called? I had a friend that was trained out there.
I think it's
hard.
Pritchard and
Tom Pritchard and Glenn run it.
Glenn Jacobs Wrestling Academy.
What is Kane's Wrestling Academy? Is it Wrestling Academy?
Yeah.
Kane's. Yep. Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
That's another person. That's another person I met, and man, when I tell you he's a sweetheart, is Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Bro, he will drive anywhere for a seminar, and that's something I have really respect from Tom Pritchard. And he don't ask for a lot, which is insane to me, because I'm like, bro, because I've had friends, and we had talked about it too. Yeah, it's Jacob Pritchard Wrestling Academy, JPWA. That's right. We were trying to get some seminars from some talent, to help the younger group and stuff like that. And we were thinking Tom Pritchard's going to be out of our budget. Nah, man, he came in there a lot less than we ever would have thought he would want to take. And he's like, yeah, man, I just need it just to cover for the drive and stuff like that. And I will work with the group, and we can just see what we can do with that. And I mean, Tom worked the hell out of these rookies, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Tom made these people realize what really cardio is in wrestling.
Man, he's definitely serious about the business. I got a chance to talk to him. It was at a convention, and it was him and Wildcat Wendell Cooley together, and he had the text. I couldn't believe he had it. He had the world-class Texas championship with him, showing it off. Me and him stood there talking for 30 minutes, just talking about wrestling. And he was so shocked on how much I knew. And Wendell Cooley was shocked that I knew who he was, because he didn't really hit the major scenes. He was just territorial. And I'm like, man, I used to watch you when you were in Continental. Matter of fact, when y'all were feuding, and they were just surprised. And he ended up giving me tickets to when Jeff Jarrett had the Global Wrestling. He gave me tickets to it.
I like that. That's pretty dope. I mean, and that is speaking a lot, because a lot of guys, and that's something that I've learned with wrestling too. A lot of people, they've got their areas. You're known in certain areas and stuff like that. And like you just said, he wasn't like in the big time scenario. So a lot of people are like, oh, if you're only in his area, you won't only know who he is. But for you to do that, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna reward you type scenario, because that's very rare for them to hear, and that actually helps them in the same way, because they feel like, oh, I gave more to the business than what I thought was at first. And that gives them more of an appreciation and stuff like that. So I agree totally with that. And I remember, and I talk about this all the time, man. A lot of people don't give a lot of credit to a lot of these in-ring performers like Al Snow. Al Snow said it perfectly, and I just rewatched his documentary, his show Wrestlers on Netflix yesterday. And he said, the stuff that I know now, I wouldn't have done with that character that I did in WWF. I would have done so much more because at first I only cared about the matches. I would have been more worried about my character and stuff like that, and I got myself more over using the character than I was more worried about putting on the best matches. Right. And that does speak a lot of volumes. So I do want to tackle on one particular subject real quick before we will talk about your app, and I definitely try to get that in as quickly as possible. But what is your opinion on, based off the little rant between Kevin Nash and Will Ospreay?
Okay, so what did Kevin say? Because I hadn't caught it.
Okay, so Will Ospreay was obviously, people are talking about how great of a talent and everything he was. Kevin Nash put short and sweet, how many shirts has he sold?
So I was
and then Will Ospreay responded. He said something about his quad or something like that. At least I have healthy quads or something. If I remember fully on something, he mentioned something about his quad. I do know that part.
Okay. So I'll say this.
He had to mention something of his quad, of course.
Of course. I'm not surprised that Kevin had that attitude. Kevin loves, let me go like this. As far as talent, Kevin knows talent, and he do love talent, but he's more of a businessman thinking. Yes. Kevin is like, I don't care how popular you are with flip-de-doos, anything. If you're not selling merch, if you're not putting butts in seats, you're not anything. He's thinking of the financial side, which Ospreay is like super over. He can, man, I saw Ospreay in March when he first debuted in AEW, and he wrestled Kyle Fletcher. When I talked about that,
you watched that match? Because a lot of people were crapping on that, which was sad. I'm like, bro, it wasn't a bad match. It was just what he came from the beginning to, going against Kyle Fletcher. It was a match, and everybody was expecting so much more. But I mean,
I don't understand why they were expecting more. I thought they tore.
This is why this was what irritates me with wrestling fans, and I mean, obviously me being a wrestling fan, but being into this business at the same time is. They never can get enough, but it's like, literally, bro, you can't treat wrestling like a freaking meat grinder. Yeah. It's like, okay, we had this real big star-studded match, but what can you do next? Like, if we give it to you so quickly, what is there else to give you when it's a big production standpoint? Like, That's something that does drive me nuts, and I do understand what Kevin Nash was explaining when he said, hey, how many T-shirts you selling in that type of representation at that moment. So, my bad. I'll cut you off.
It's all good. Like, that match to me was phenomenal. Both of them just did some great wrestling, and I was all about it. Now, see, I'm just not going to even lie to you. I'm not a merch type buying guy. It takes a lot to get out of my pockets because hey, I earn my money. I got to keep my money.
We can see the background. If you got it, that means it's earned it.
Man, look, I got a few belts, and I had to hustle to get those. So I'm just saying, there's certain people like Ospreay. Like I said, he was great. I understand where both of them are coming from, but everything is not money driven to professional wrestler. There's some that do it for the love of the sport. And Ospreay to me is a love for the sport guy. Now, of course, he's still making money because he still lives overseas. Tony Khan gave him a buttload of money, so he knows he's good. And
I said it. If there's gonna be one guy that's on AEW that's gonna be covered for the whole time he's there, it's Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is gonna be his Stone Cold. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Every time he wrestles, he tears it up. And then like him and Shane.
I hate to cut you off on this, but do you think that's the same aspect that Tony Khan treated what he thought with Kenny Omega at first? Is the same build that he's doing with what he's really trying to invest with Will Ospreay? Do you think that's what the same thing he was trying to be with Kenny Omega before off his injuries?
I think so. I think he was building them. Well, and it was definitely a little different because he's an EVP and stuff. But yes, he was definitely. He
was his guy. That was Tony's guy for a moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't blame him. I mean, look, it's certain wrestlers, we get tired of seeing them be on top and stuff, like John Cena, for instance. People got tired of him. But every time, as JBL said, big match John. You put him in a big match, you knew John was going to show up and show out, whether you like them or dislike them. So there are people like that. Kenny Omega, he wrestled a freaking doll over in Japan that made Jim Cornette have 3 heart attacks. But truthfully, he made it good. I mean, I was sitting there looking at it, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Then I watched it again.
Getting involved in it. I remember when Kenny Omega was wrestling a kid, if I remember. Was he wrestling a kid in New Japan?
A little girl. Kenny, that just shows how great of a wrestler Kenny is. Because he took a broom, he wrestled a broom, he wrestled a blow-up doll, he wrestled a kid. And I guarantee you, if you would catch yourself, if you watched it once, you watched it 10 times, because you're sitting there like, that don't make
Am I really watching this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a phrase that we've used for the longest time, like with Ric Flair, bro. Like Ric Flair could sell a broomstick, and I mean, Kenny Omega's like, oh, we've heard it, I'm gonna do it, and he does it, bro. 4.3 million views watching him face a doll and a kid and a damn broomstick, like.
And this is better than some company's main event.
Oh
so,
my god!
I mean, geez, I
remember when I first watched Kenny Omega, and I remember a lot of people were praising about Kenny Omega. But of course, I was a WWE guy for a long time, and I watched the first match I watched of Kenny Omega, which I was mad because I had to stay up super damn late to watch a New Japan freaking pay-per-view. And of course, it was the stinking main event. So you're having to wait all damn morning for this pay-per-view to happen. And it was Wrestle Kingdom. It was Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. I wanted to see what was the big hype about Kenny Omega. I've been hearing about him being in pro wrestling. God forbid if I did not like the independent wrestling, I was the shun of my group in ways. Like they were like buying, I remember they used to rib me buying Kenny Omega shirts and all this on me and all this, like, hey, you're going to know what real wrestling is and all this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I finally watched this one particular match and I was really impressed with it. But I was like, I don't understand the big hype what everybody was talking about with Kenny Omega. And then I was just like, it was really cool to see Jericho wrestle the way he was wrestling because he looked a lot more lenient, if that makes sense. Like he wasn't like so self-control on all his moves, which if Jericho didn't want to do nothing, if Jericho didn't want to do it, he wasn't going to do it. And we've all learned that one with him. Even when he was wrestling Brock Lesnar, if he didn't like what was going on, he let you know he wasn't going to do it, which I always have respect for him on that. But seeing Kenny Omega's match, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of impressed. Does that make me want to buy a shirt and all this other stuff that everybody keeps ribbing me with on Hot Topics and stuff like that? No, I'm not going to do it. And then, of course, I watched when the first AEW Full Gear came here. No, it's Fight for the Fallen. It was the first pay-per-view in Jackson.
Right.
And I watched Kenny Omega face some Japan dude. I don't even know the Japan guy's name. I remember Kenny Omega was flipping off the damn Titantron, all this stuff, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you're not getting much of a reaction out of the crowd, because the crowd was just like, we don't know who the hell the Japan guy is, but we're knowing this Kenny Omega guy. We know who Kenny Omega is, and it's just like it was a good match, too, because if you've never seen Kenny Omega wrestle, you got to see it. But this other guy, it was a match. And I felt bad on that same in that part, because I was like, this is where that difference is, like what you just said about Big Match John. John benefited both ends. He covered himself, and he put his damn opponent over. Regardless if they won or lost, he made you know that opponent beat the crap out of him to get him to fight under the ringer to win the match. But when I watched that Kenny Omega match with the Japan guy, I was just like, why did he jump off the Titantron? Why did he even do all this? Like, why? And I'm like, that was the only way you knew. And I think in their minds at New Japan, of course, is like, we got to do a high spot to get a reaction. And that's where I think we're a lot of lacking standpoint when it comes to, the mindset with New Japan wrestling comes into the U.S. audiences. The way we can get them to react, we got to get on the top rope. We got to jump 1 or 2 times. And I remember there was another guy. He looked like Finn Balor. I can't remember the dude's name. He had Anna Jay with him as a manager for a little bit. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, he's going to have to do a high spot just to get a reaction out of the crowd, because the crowd was dead silent when this dude was wrestling. He was wrestling Hangman Adam Page. This is when Adam Page was getting built up to face Jericho for the title. The biggest main event of it which was actually a cool one. I'm not a Young Bucks fan, but I was excited to see Cody and Dustin tag against the Young Bucks. It was actually a pretty good match. But seeing this guy, and I literally told my friend, which we were all wrestlers, and I told him, I was like, this dude's going to have to jump off the top rope just to get one reaction, because it was dead silent. Like, this is supposed to be a pay-per-view show. People are paid $50 to $60 to watch this show on TV, and you're not hearing a glimpse of anything for Adam Page or this guy. And he had to jump off this top rope and just his pop was like that. It was like instantly, yay, yay. And then it died right after he landed. I'm like, is this really what wrestling fans are now? Like, we're doomed.
Well, and you got to think about that too. Like you said, didn't know the guy. You have no background. So it's going to be hard to, unless he's just turning it up, it's hard to get invested with somebody you don't know anything about. I was a big ROH fan before Tony bought it. And man, I knew that's how I got to know a lot of Japanese wrestlers. And that's how I started getting into New Japan. And the guy I worked with, he was a big New Japan guy. And he told me about Shinsuke Nakamura. And I was like, who? And I saw some of the matches. When he first came to WWE, the match,
Sami Zayn match, I was invested. Yeah. I was invested with him. I was like, I don't really care for the New Japan matches, but I like him. Whatever he just did with Sami Zayn, he can make Sami Zayn a main eventer just from this match.
Yeah,
I was blown the freak away with that match.
And it's so funny that as long as he's been here, he's held every championship except a world title, which he's actually had a couple of chances at doing. But most people think of his career in WWF is a failure. He's a
Royal Rumble winner that didn't win it at Mania. So
he Royal Rumble winner, Intercontinental winner, U.S. champion winner, tag team champion winner. But if you ask people, they're like, he's because WWE wrestles a certain style. People have to learn how to wrestle their style. If they would let him go and wrestle a new Japan style, it would change, I would say, 80% of fans' expectations about him.
Do you think it's easier for the fans to follow him knowing that he's been in the WWE background for so long? Because I think some of the matches that he does, obviously with AJ, the WrestleMania match that he did with AJ was good. The finish, I didn't like the finish.
It wasn't their New Japan match, but it was good.
No, it was really good. Like AJ really made it to where you really wanted to follow Shinsuke, because Shinsuke was really hot that year when he won the Rumble. Everyone was like, "Oh, we're going in a new league," and this is when Vince was running it. So we're like, "Vince picked that? Like what? Oh, what? Close to a main event? Really?
Oh yeah.
Is he okay?"
Yeah, so he must have just told them do whatever with SmackDown, because
he probably heard AJ. He's like, "AJ, who do you want to wrestle at Mania? I want Shinsuke. Who's that?
Ooh, yeah, we got
Michael Jackson. All right, get him. He's going again in the Rumble. How's he winning? I don't know. He's just winning. What are we doing after? He's going to turn heel. Is he winning the championship? No.
No.
Well, how dare you? How dare you think this?
And that's one of the things I'm a segue into our app. That's one thing that I love about our app. We have documentaries, so you can learn about different people and find out their history. Then we got independent wrestling. You can see different people, the future of the business, because most people never got to see people come up like your Brock Lesnar's and your John Cena. They never seen when they were in the OVW or before that. Man, and it's like we got that. We got our little stuff. Like I have 2 different podcasts. Got the B&B. It's the Bear and Blade podcast, where we talk about certain wrestlers. It was one particular episode. He made me talk about Hulk Hogan. Didn't want to, but he tricked me and made me do it. And but we offer so much for different types of wrestling fans. And the best thing I tell people, it is free. How can you beat that? It's free.
Bro, I tell people all the time, man, it's free 99. It's nothing better than hearing the word free, because it is so rare to hear it nowadays.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And it's so much.
That's where I'm. Bro. I mean, good Lord, you can't even get a bag of chips no more, barely even for $2 yet alone.
Look, it's funny you say that. Just ordered groceries. Got my wife. She wanted some chips. We thought it was like $3. We thought it was going to be a big bag. Man, they gave us
half empty, still like a $4 or $5 bag, man.
Little snack size bag that had like 5 chips in it. Me and her both look bad. Like, man, okay, we know not to order them no more.
He said 5 chips in it, like literally
Man,
1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh no, this ain't happening. We need 2 bags.
Man, a baby would have got mad. Be like, that's it. Oh.
They really trying to say, can you just eat one?
Man, they're trying to charge you to death.
But Herman, yeah, I do want you to talk a little bit about your app and stuff. Like you just said, man, you got biographies, you got a lot of people that you connect with, and then in this network, like y'all got podcasts, y'all got the little skits. I was really intrigued when you were talking about, I think it was the comedy skits where you were talking with the puppets. That's right, the puppets.
You're talking about the
puppet skit. What's the name of the app again? I'm gonna show it on the advertisement.
It is WSN.
Is it on all Android and Apple stores?
I don't. You know what? I don't even know that. I know it's on. It's on Google. Not Google. Jesus. It's on Roku. It's on
Roku. Okay, yeah. I know
Roku.
what you're talking about.
It's on Fire Stick, Amazon, and Apple TV. And we're working to get on a couple of more streaming services.
All right, guys, y'all hear that, man? Y'all Apple lovers, you Google lovers, all that, man. WSN, go check it out.
If you like video games, we got a guy who does nothing but reviews different video games. We got the figures wrestling organization.
That one.
I'm telling you, you watch this, you're gonna get hooked. I watched it. I didn't plan on sitting there and watching a whole one. An hour went by, and I'm sitting there invested. And started watching the second one. I got to get back to doing what I was doing. I'm telling you, stuff in there as a vet. Then we got the video game promotion that we do with real wrestlers doing voiceovers. Man, we dive into it as if we own a real organization. I'm telling you, check it out. You will not be disappointed.
That's pretty dope, man. Like I said, man, I thought it was really cool when you were talking about the puppets and stuff. I remember you were selling me with that. I was like, I ain't never seen the puppet standpoint. That's pretty cool. And then you were talking about the wrestling action figures and stuff. I mean, I think that's where we got into that almost that hour and a half chat right off of there. And then we went in and talked about the Von Erichs and stuff like that. So, yeah, man. Guys, definitely check it out. The app is WSN. It's on your Roku TVs. It's on your Apple TVs. So y'all really don't have an excuse on it because I know everybody's got a Roku or Apple. Everybody's got one of those by now. Fire Stick, I know all y'all have it. It's free. Free.
Come on.
Pop in, see it. If you don't like it, delete it. But hey, it's free. You can't go wrong.
I promise you, if you download it, if it's something that is not your taste, I will be surprised. But man, you can actually get on Facebook and send me a comment about it, and we can talk about it. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. We are about working on this and making it fan friendly. We want everybody to enjoy it. And like I said, matter of fact, I wasn't even going to say nothing about this, but I got another wrestling organization that agreed to be on the stream on our network.
That's awesome.
So they'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we're just trying to grow and give everybody what you want as a wrestling fan. And I will even say this. I know there are other apps out there. I'm not knocking them. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I think we have everything that you could look for as a wrestling fan.
Hey man, like I said, man, the action figure thing, the puppet thing, the voiceovers. I mean, like you even said before, man. I looked at it right after we had the chat off the After Dark, and I was just blown away. I was like, dang, man, they got so much content on these things. I was just like, wow. And you weren't lying, man. The video game reviews, like there's a piece of something in every category with it. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, there's even things that kind of make fun of wrestling in the same perspective. And it's like, man, like in both audience, if you think wrestling's fake and you think it's corny, whatever, you could even get invested in watching the stuff that rips it. And it's like, it's so funny. Like, it's like you got two different teams that can play which part into watching some type of content. So definitely a fan of it, man. And I really, it's definitely an interesting thing. And I did just see it on the Roku TV because I was trying to see if I could find it on my phone just off the, the Google app, like whatever. But you said Roku and stuff. So that one definitely, it showed right off the rip. So if you type in WSN, guys, you can find it right there. Even to help you, it's right under when they talk about wrestling apps. It's right under the OVW app. That's where I just found it on. So It's an easy way to find it, man. So Herman, man, any last words, man? I appreciate you doing this. It was an absolute blast. Like I said, man, you're more than welcome. Come on, anytime you want. I might have to try to get you on a Wednesday when we do commission talks, because I know the boys would definitely have a good time with you talking just all kinds of wrestling stuff. Because I got one of my friends, Brian B. He actually lives in Atlanta, so he's not far away from you at all.
Oh, and
And
I got a sister and brother in Atlanta.
okay,
And one of
yeah,
my,
man.
and one of the guys that work with us, he's in Atlanta too. So
Yeah. How far out do you travel for independent shows?
well, I don't travel out as far as I would like because I had
Appreciate
back
it, Ambassador.
surgery.
Mhm.
But I try to get out, especially if it's a good one. I get out about 60, 70 miles.
Okay. Yeah, man. I'll be in Georgia July 13th at Newton, Georgia. If you let me know how far away that is for me there. That's gonna be the
Yeah.
closest one. I'm gonna be close out there. And
Hey, I was gonna
I'm
say,
back and forth in Atlanta.
let me know. We'll work something out, man. Definitely.
Oh, definitely, man. But yes, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching, man. We went almost 2 hours and everyone was consistent. We didn't even have numbers drop. That's the part that I love about this. Like we went on. That's why I was like, man, we'll go longer, because I was just like, usually you think like almost the hour mark, people are gonna start dying down on the numbers. It stayed.
Yeah,
and grew
that's
even a
good.
little bit. I was like, hey,
I appreciate everybody who watched this, hung out with us. Again, the one thing I forgot, man, go please, if you hadn't did it, go to Facebook under the Wrestling Society Network. We have a page there where we got followers. We are over 2,100. You don't have to be a wrestler, just be a fan. And if you are a wrestler or a promoter, man, advertise your stuff on our page. We don't mind. We enjoy it. We want everybody to see your stuff. Put eyes on your product.
Yep. I'm pulling it up right now so everybody can see it.
And it's funny too. I'm supposed to be on y'all show Monday.
The After Dark.
Yep.
I had a feeling he was telling me about something with that. Yep. Ambassador's requesting we got to have you back. We got to have him back, guys.
Definitely.
Got to get him back. All right, we'll do it. We'll go with the old-fashioned Cody Rhodes. What do you want to talk about? No, I'm just kidding. All right, Ambassador, I appreciate you doing this, man. This was an absolute blast. Shout out to everyone that was watching on IG, which is Instagram. I always just like to say the IG thing. Watching IG, we got many on the X account for the Buzzwin Marlowe X account. We had the American Prodigy X account, 15 on there. Shout out to y'all on there. The 7 on the regular. I have too many X accounts, sadly. And then, of course, we had a good number on YouTube. Thank you, man. We had 5 new subscribers off of YouTube today. So shout out to y'all. And 6 from the Twitch, man. Shout out to all of y'all that watch. Herman, man, I appreciate you doing this, man. Definitely going to have you back on. I want to do an episode where we actually do a watch along about Iron Claw. I think that would be fun, especially because me and you talked about NWA for like half an hour that last episode. So definitely I thought that would be a fun one. So you let me know whenever you're free and we could definitely get that set up. But guys, this has been another great week of Buzzing with Marlowe. I thank y'all. I love y'all. If you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, most importantly, subscribe, hit that notification bell right there to get in contact with all our platforms, man. We have so many more, man. So many. I'm not even going to name the social media handles anymore because we're on all of them. Sometimes I name them wrong because we changed the names off of them. But obviously, you will see this audio episode as well later on around 10 o'clock. I promise you. I got to get better on doing the audio standpoint. So definitely going to focus on that as much as well, too. But, guys, thank y'all for watching. We love y'all, and we will see y'all next week. Guys, leave it out like I always do. Watch what you love. Enjoy it now because pro wrestling is cool again. Thanks to your final boss. But I'll see y'all later. That is Hermit, the Professor Barricade, and I am Warren Marlowe, Mr. Red, White, and Blue. And ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Y'all have a good one.